Hello everyone, I'm Taylor Bampico. Today's video I'm going to be going over 10 facts regarding my psychological thriller, Traffic. Initially this channel is going to be mostly about my books and writing, maybe a little bit about firearms. Kind of changed up a little bit, hasn't it? Not that I'm complaining, it's been an awful lot of fun doing stuff with firearms here on YouTube, but the next few videos coming up will be more or less about my novels. But don't worry, there's going to be plenty of firearm stuff in the future. With that being said, here are 10 facts about Traffic. Number 10, the initial concept derived from an old draft of what is now Parabellum. Similar events that happened to Nicole Collins in this book initially happened to Riley Kane before a drastic reform. Number 9, real places were incorporated and modified when necessary. For instance, Nicole's address did in fact lead to a real house which has since been demolished. John Givino's gun shop was indeed a real gun store in New York City, which unfortunately did close as a result to the current situation regarding the Then of course there's the Empire State Building, the Statue of Liberty, and the Javits Center, obviously. Speaking of the Empire State Building, that also kind of leads into fact number 8. Historical events were also incorporated. I used the incident where a plane crashed into the Empire State Building in 1945 to explain changes to both the interior and exterior of the building. There's also the World Trade Center attack in 1993, that plays a small part into the story. And I mean very small part, there's just one character who's there before he leaves and goes on to do something else. Ruby Ridge is mentioned and the entire Waco situation pans out. One thing about writing a book in the 90s, there's some very interesting things that occurred at that time. Of course, there are interesting situations that occur throughout any decade. On to fact number 7. Fourth time is a charm. The first completed draft was my 4th attempt at actually writing this particular novel. I tried those scenarios, but none of them made me want to actually continue the story, and as I said, luckily the 4th time was a charm. Number 6, the city itself. For some reason, New York City has always enamored me. A few of my favorite movies are actually set in New York City, those of course being Taxi Driver.
You talking to me? Well, then who the hell else are you talking? You talking to me? Well, I'm the only one here.
The Warriors.
Warriors, come out to play. Warriors, come out to play.
Escape from New York.
Doesn't mean shit to me. Give me the paper.
When you come out?
Before.
I told you I wasn't a fool, Plissken.
Call me Snake.
And who could forget Léon the Professional?
Let's practice now. It's the best way to learn.
Who should I hit?
Whoever.
Number 5. Time of release and real-life events were very interesting. Published on May 29th of 2019, the story is about a young woman who is purchased by a tycoon in New York City. Seems like complete fiction, but fast forward a couple months, and what happens? None other than the individual who didn't commit suicide was arrested on human trafficking charges. And that leads on to fact number 4. The main antagonist was not influenced by In fact, my antagonist was far worse than by a long shot. I watched the Netflix series Filthy Rich. I'm reading the novel right now by James Patterson. I almost said a different name. James Patterson. And while I'm not excusing what the individual did, it's very bad, but I was expecting something more along the lines of either Hostel or Taken. Anyway, moving on. Number 3. This book was the first to receive character art. I actually did a whole video discussing this artwork. Again, thank you very much, Paige. I am very satisfied with what you did. And I am really excited to see the other characters that you're working on for me. Can't wait. On to fact number 2. Of my 3 current novels, Traffic has the best soundtrack. Come on, you really couldn't go wrong with the grunge era of Alice in Chains, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Stone Temple Pilots, and Soundgarden. You mix those with a few tracks of Flyleaf, Genesis, Digital Daggers, The Smithereens, and Meg Myers. It really does coincide with the darkness of the story. And last but definitely not least, the final fact regarding Traffic is, of my 3 novels so far, it has become my favorite. Silent Rage will always be my pride and joy. Parabellum was my first one, of course, but nonetheless, Traffic will always be the one book, so far anyway, that I will always enjoy venturing back to. Well, as I said, it's been some time since I've talked about any of my novels. I figured why not just do a video discussing some facts about them. It's also a lot of fun to talk about them too. Well, that was 10 facts about my psychological thriller Traffic. If you enjoyed the video, remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Click that bell icon so you're notified when I upload new content. Leave any comments you have in the section below and have a good day. See ya!